How's it going? Welcome to all the new subscribers. Thank you for all of you who have subscribed. Um, this is probably going to wind up being more of a rant than anything, but I thought it would be interesting to kind of examine some of where we're at as a country, as a society, as a culture. And by the way, speaking of culture, or lack thereof, I'm so glad so many of you like Leroy videos. It's a good chance to let my internet redneck out. And maybe I'll have, a couple more characters. Trying to think like what would be fun to do. Uh, Certainly don't want to be offensive to anyone, but um, that might be a good starting point. You know, there is a level where being offensive, that is such a subjective thing, offense. Um, I think certain things we can all classify as objectively offensive. Ethnic slurs, certain behaviors toward minorities or women or anyone really. Um, but we've got this outrage culture that's just, I feel like it's gotten way out of hand. And it seems like we're looking for that next adrenaline rush of outrage. We're just can't wait to jump down the throat of the next person who has a public misspeak or maybe has some backwards ideas that have not yet been challenged and they have not corrected. Certainly there are people who are just willfully ignorant and really work the outrage machine to their benefit. But we've got this situation in our culture where, if someone makes a misspeak or, it's just about anything, and the next thing you know, they're a viral sensation. They're getting hate mail by millions of people who, frankly, if they had seen this in person, probably would have never thought twice about it. We have a culture of complete lack of attentiveness, empathy, presence, mindfulness, whatever word you want to use. I've been a musician uh, all of my life, really. I've always loved playing music, but I got my start playing live and actually starting to support myself with it when it was 2001, I think, 2001, somewhere around there, in Maryland, in Annapolis, and it was wonderful. First gig that I ever had was at an Irish pub, and watching the audience change over the last 20 years has been really, really, it's been fascinating and heartbreaking at the same time. Right now, with coronavirus going on, I'm not really playing live. Um, Not that I don't want to, but that I don't trust the average person to at least attempt to do the right thing. I don't trust that anymore. Just to follow these basic concepts to try to keep each other safe. And that appalls me. And it's this symptom, I think. I think it's a symptom. There's always been selfishness and greed in our country. There's always been selfishness and greed in humanity. That is the history of humankind. But there's also been an undercurrent of giving and working together and this sort of awareness of others and compassion, and I don't kid myself that within everyone is a saint. I don't think that's necessarily true. Everyone's on a different part of their growth journey, but I've never seen this selfishness, self-centeredness so widespread as I do now. And I wonder if we're looking at a symptom and we're living in the results of an underlying condition, which is back to the audience. When I first started playing, sure, people talked to each other and people were having fun, and that's the point of a live show. But I would look up from my guitar and actually see people looking back at me. And I would watch, there was Dogs in the Bushes and so many great little Irish bands in that area. And I would watch them and I would look around and people were watching and paying attention. And now when I play, it's looking at the back of cell phones and not even recording. It's just people going out and then ignoring where they're at, and it boggles my mind, really. And I'm not saying that the technology is the problem. I think that we're coming to grips with really new technology. I mean, honestly, what a smartphone is 10, 15 years old at most. And you look at the biological evolutionary standpoint of being a human, and we've evolved over a span of millions of years. 10 to 15 years is a blink of an eye. It's less than that. And we don't know how to deal with that. We've got programs such as Facebook and Twitter and even YouTube that this is on that are designed to give us those bursts of dopamine to keep us hooked and keep us watching and keep us scrolling and keep us commenting and liking, and our brains don't know how to handle this yet. We have not developed a sort of broader societal etiquette around this stuff. Well, why would this be so addictive to us? Well, we're all looking for our next fix, all of us. Whether it's coffee or alcohol or marijuana or Facebook or Twitter or sex or working out or whatever it is, we're all looking for that next fix of whatever it is that helps us get through. And it's interesting to me that we've built such a culture, such a society where that's necessary for us. And there's always been a level of that. You need to have something to look forward to. But we've built a society with such insane levels of income inequality, of racial inequality, of even inequality among the sexes. We've built such a cage of a culture that we are trying to escape. And the powers that be know this. The really smart entrepreneurs know this and they capitalize on that. The interesting thing to me about all this is that so much of this is so easily fixed, relatively speaking. We have this culture where being a billionaire is the ultimate thing that you can do in life. So we seek that instead of what some cultures used to seek, which was called enlightenment, or there's 100 different words for that state of being. There's so many cultures who've had this yearning, this longing to find the ultimate connection with God or nature or these higher realities than just money. Jesus of Nazareth once said that the love of money is the root of all evil, and frankly, I just have to agree with it. We're all in this mindset of scarcity. We're all in this mindset of, if I give this, then I won't have enough, when the evidence around us is quite the opposite. When everyone shares, everyone has enough. There's something like, I can't remember the last statistic I read, but there's something like 3 empty houses in the US for every single homeless person. For every single person who has to live on the streets, there are 3 houses sitting empty, not being used. We fight so hard against any whiff of socialism or communism or these scary words that we came up with, without ever examining, like, well, what do they mean? What are these concepts? And I guess that's what I'm trying to do with this channel. It's not necessarily give every homeless person 3 houses, but to sort of raise that awareness of, maybe point back to, hey, there is this rich reality right around you, and you can access it just by putting your phone down or by getting out of your head and paying attention. And that's what I'm trying to do. I've been on the Leroy kick for a little bit, and I'm really trying to think of the direction that I want to take with all of this. And I'm trying to figure out how to make a living. You know, this year has really kicked the legs out from under me. I don't have all the shows that I had, and I just, my entire income is gone. I've been fortunate in that the state of Michigan has been helpful with unemployment for musicians. Apparently that's not something in every state, and that's sad, because we create the background of everyone's reality, basically. You know, every TV show has music, every commercial has music, just about, movies have music. You can't even sit in a lobby somewhere without there being music. You go on hold, there's music. We are a musical culture, but we've gotten to the point where we ignore it, and we don't care about the people who make the music. We're a culture who appreciates art. We have artwork in every single thing. There's artistry involved into the labels on cans of soup. There's arts there, and an artist had to design, the logo for, whatever company there is, or there are videographers that's their passion, and maybe they're making the rent with commercials for pet food or whatever. That's their art, and we don't do enough. We want to consume it all the time, but we never want to take care of the people whose product we're consuming. We have this concept now of the essential worker, the people. We finally realize that the people who stock our shelves in grocery stores, we need them. We need them. But they're some of the lowest paid people in the U.S. Without them, we would have starved. We generally would starve on an average day if you didn't have someone stocking shelves. We have such an insane society that the people who hold us together as a country, the backbone of this nation, are the least compensated, the least taken care of. And we look down on those people. And it goes back to that that concept of want to be rich, and we don't value just the simple pleasures of hard work, of doing that simple task and doing it extremely well. We've lost sight of what it means to be a human, and now we're just consumers. If you've made it this long, thank you for watching my rant, or my viewpoint, or my But I really hope that we can maybe find a way, like, let's start being a little more mindful. Let's start being a little more connected with each other. Let's start being a little more present in our lives. Let's take pleasure in those small victories of if you're going to stack wood, do it the best you can. If you're going to stock a shelf, do it the best way you can. And that is artistry as well. So I don't know what I'm going to focus on this channel. I'm still finding, I'm only 2 months into this, and I'm still finding my voice. And I really hope that you come along with me for the journey. And again, thank you for the new subscriptions and the donations. I do put a Ko-Fi donation link, buy me a cup of coffee or whatever down below. And thank y'all for that. Every bit helps right now. So I really appreciate all of you who watch, who share. I really appreciate that. All of you who've subscribed. And I just want to help this nation be better. I just want it to be better. So, with love,